system. Okay, so here we are at our dashboard. Instead of getting email every day of the pro forma R2 invoices that I need to review, I simply have these work queues. These can be sorted by branch, by time, by codes, literally by problem issues. You could have these all organized in the way you think or work. And these are personal pages, so each branch can organize these in the way they desire. This is showing me I have 14 items in my review for my branch here at Downey today. I have 4 that are maybe overdue. I'm going to go ahead and look at one specifically that I just got a call on, this Helix Electric Ink. So I simply click on it and it pulls the document up immediately that's in question. Now what's nice about this approach is I can look at the actual document that came out of R2 and do some comparisons. Maybe I want to quickly look at the original quote. So I click on cross references and I can look at the customer quote that we gave at the beginning of the project side by side. Or this could be a purchase order or a bill of lading. So I can actually look at documents in tandem while I'm making my decision. Now once I've decided what I want to do, I have a couple of choices. If I definitely just want to add a comment, I can just go into discussions and I can start a discussion and I can simply say charged incorrectly. This might have been charged at 88.20 and it should have been 88 flat. So I could say rebill at 88 each. And now my little discussion is in line attached to the document. Somebody could add additional discussions and they would just show up here. Discussions 2, 3, 4, and 5. This replaces the email concept currently in use. Another approach, though, might be to have some tasks: pre-decide, suspend, rebill, look at contract. And these could be common tasks that occur all the time when we're doing our reviews, and we wouldn't even have to have a discussion. That in tow with the e-form, we would actually be able to pull up an e-form right in this area and say line item 1, line item 2, change it from this to that, as we saw in the PowerPoint. I like the idea of being able to hit history, which tells me exactly what's gone on with this document, who added what, when, if they added a post, if they changed the document, if they viewed the document. So all the documents, every single component about this particular document has been identified in history. So right from the dashboard you can get to the items that you need to check coming out of R2. But if you wanted to check globally or look at some of the documents across the organization, you always can click on custom queries, go into AR document search, put in your date bounds, your customer name, any values here you want, or simply hit search and look at all the documents across the entire group. Now what I've done here is just search for all the documents, but if I wanted to organize these by document type, I might just grab my document type column and put it up here. And if I wanted to just look at the R2 documents, I'm sort of thinking of these here are the 25, and here's our Helix one down at the bottom. I can simply take a look at these, and I could even organize these by branch code. If there was a branch code value here, I could drag branch code up here. Or in this situation, I'm going to go put the customer name here. So now I've organized all those items into into a customer's name, and it's this Helix one that I'm particularly interested. This is telling me that my smallest invoice is 441, which I believe is Helix right here. My largest R2 invoice in the pile is 6,000. If I didn't want to work that 6,000 and just wanted to work everything under 1,000, maybe we have one person in charge of that. Notice it trims it up a little bit more. But this is the particular one I'm after, this Helix one. This sort it down, and it's telling me exactly how many R2 items are by company name. 2 for Helix, 28 for Maximum Burger, but Helix is the one we're playing with. And I can actually just click on the document from here, go in to look at the document, and perform some of the tasks that we have seen before. Here's all the values from the header and footer that were pulled off the document automatically. Here are some of those interesting stamps that we might use to say that this particular item is okay. 8820 is correct amount. Notice when you do fill out a stamp, your name is put into the stamp automatically. Everybody has a specific color, so we know who put the stamp on there automatically. Again, we could use the discussions, which is just another approach to do discussions. It's a little bit more interesting than a note in that it creates order. We might turn one or the other off. So Mark was our guy here. Mark Edwards was the guy who gave us the order, and maybe we need to say something like that goes in with this particular order, and notice they're all sequenced. And again, we've got the history, who did what on the document when, what workflow queues they're in. Notice all the work on this document's been by me. We can send the document. We can start an email or a letter and email the document to somebody. We could even send the document out for electronic signature. So everything you need to do with this document is right in this toolbar, including the revision control, which was discussed in the PowerPoint. We can get rid of duplicates, or we can just keep the most current one on top, and every revision would be listed here. But this is a nice way to keep track of previous versions without actually erasing them if there was some reason to keep the history of them. I particularly like the task button to do things to this document quickly and automatically. Of course, we talked about signing the document, which isn't part of your process. And most importantly is cross-referencing. The ability to jump from this particular document right to corresponding documents with a single click without having to go look in another drive. So here's the original quote made out to Mark Edwards. Here's the resulting current R2 document version that we have, and we know that it's the very first version to come through simply by checking on this revisions button here. We're looking at the first version of this particular Performa invoice. That pretty much completes the tour, Mark. John, that completes it. Of course, the most important thing is how the documents stream in automatically to begin with. Back to the home page, and you can see here where we just reviewed the Performa invoices coming out of R2 and how many are in different stages per branch. But we also can just look at the overall process through the dashboard. So I opened up the dashboard, and this could tell me how many documents are in exception queues per branch. and what various stages they are. I can click on these pie charts and go right to those particular documents that are in review, and I can see that they're open, and I could click on a specific one and go right to it. So the dashboard is a general approach for management to see what's going on from a high level approach, and we can export anything we're looking at in the dashboard to Excel. John, just a couple more things. The form that we discussed in the PowerPoint to go from this to that can actually be created in the ON-based system. Any form you complete or create in the system would actually could be rendered on a mobile device, whether it be an Android or an Apple or etc. So we would have to redesign this form, as we've done several for TrenchPlate already, where you could have just different, change this from this to that and from this to that. So a form like this can be integrated into the workflow process as well to record the changed items. If we can pick off the line items in the initial input of the R2 documents, this assists us in doing quick edits here. The last item to show is something that occurs automatically and passively. As R2 documents flow into the system, files are made automatically. You don't have to make folders. So under the custom file cabinet, we could search for a particular company name, go out and find it, and see all of the jobs that were underneath that particular client, every PO they've got, and go back and do history and get to the not only our original invoice, but of course their original quote or PO. So here's our Helix Electric that was automatically created for us for this PO number, showing us their original quote, and a right click on this will get us to their R2 document. So if we can get to the PO, we can get to the R2 document. We can get to the R2 document, the performa, we can get to the quote. That concludes our little tour or video, John, on how OnBase can be reconfigured to assist in the R2 ingestion of performa invoices. Thank you very much.